Welcome to Concept Craft. We are presenting step-by-step videos training to crack your certification exam, so you can gain the confidence to take on any accounting challenge. Now let's begin our today's lesson. Setting up inventory products. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, we'll cover setting up new inventory products and categories. Topics: adding an item to inventory. What to consider when adding inventory items. Importing inventory items from spreadsheets. Product categories. Using product categories. Know what you have. Tracking inventory is vital for clients who work with products. They need to know how many of each item they have on hand and when to order more. How can QuickBooks Online help? Clients can easily set up inventory items in QuickBooks Online Plus and Advanced. They can create product categories to make locating items easier and efficiently track the items they have on hand. They can also receive notifications when a product runs low. Adding an item to inventory. Let's see how clients can add inventory items in their QuickBooks Online Plus and Advanced subscriptions. Open the Products and Services page either from the Sales menu in the left-hand navigation or from the gear icon. Select New, and then select the Inventory option. Note that this option only appears if inventory tracking is turned on in Account and Settings. Enter the name of the product. Clients can upload a photo, add the stock keeping unit (SKU), assign the product to a category, or define a class if class tracking is turned on. These changes can be made later, so we'll skip them for now. Enter the initial quantity on hand. The amount of the entry will be the quantity on hand multiplied by the default purchase cost of this item. We enter 0. The reason for that is because items with a quantity on hand other than 0 will adjust the inventory asset with an offsetting entry to opening balance equity. Only clients already in business but new to QuickBooks Online should enter a non-zero initial quantity on hand. Companies already using QuickBooks Online should derive any increase or decrease of this product from the purchase and sales transactions for this item. They should only increase the quantity of new products through purchase forms. Next, set the as of date. Make sure to set the date to 1 before any transactions involving this product were made. This date can't be changed afterward. Enter a reorder point. This is the minimum quantity of the product the client wants on hand. When the quantity in the inventory goes to or below this number, clients will receive a reminder to order more. Although this is not a required field, it's good practice to enter reorder points. We make the reorder point 5. Next, set the inventory asset account. This account must have an other current asset account type and an inventory detail type in the chart of accounts. In our case, we select inventory asset. Next, enter a description. This description will print on sales forms. Then add a sales price/rate for the product. This is the default price that will appear on sales forms. That price can be changed manually on any individual sales form without affecting the default price. If the price will vary from sale to sale, leave this field blank. Next, select the appropriate income account from the drop-down. Only general ledger accounts with an account type of income and a detailed type of sales of product income will appear in the drop-down. Sales forms, such as invoices and sales receipts, using this item will post to this account. Next, set the sales tax category. In our case, we select taxable standard rate from the drop-down. In the purchasing information section, enter a description to print on purchase forms. Then, in the cost box, enter the default purchase cost. Select an expense account from the drop-down. This account must have cost of goods sold as the type and supplies and materials COGS as the detail type in the chart of accounts. Next, clients can choose their preferred vendor for the product. When reordering the product from the Products and Services list, this vendor's details will automatically appear on the purchase order. Finally, select Save and Close. That's one product setup. Considerations when adding inventory items. When clients are setting up inventory items, there are a number of things to consider. Select each heading to find out more. Tracking ordered inventory items. Clients can track inventory items ordered from a vendor via a purchase order. Note that once the client adds and saves an inventory item, quantity on PO appears as a field when they go to edit the item. To display this column in the Products and Services list, select the grid gear icon on the list itself and check the box for quantity on PO. Deleting inventory items. As with other lists in QuickBooks Online, clients can't delete an inventory item or change the item type once it's been made an inventory item. This is true even if they haven't used that item in a transaction yet. Making an inventory item inactive. If clients don't want to track the inventory of an item, they can make it inactive by selecting the Make Inactive option from the drop-down next to the item, as shown here. Be very careful when doing this. Making an inventory item with a quantity on hand inactive will zero out the quantity and value, and increase the inventory shrinkage account. Note that making an item inactive doesn't affect any previous transactions. Changing an inventory item to non-inventory. QuickBooks Online won't allow two items with the same name in the products and services list. So if clients want to set an inventory item as a non-inventory item, they need to alter the name slightly. For instance, they could add an asterisk to the end of the inactive inventory item. They also need to zero out the inventory item before making it inactive. Then, they can set it up again as non-inventory with a slightly different name. Changing the assigned account. Unlike other item types, if your client changes one or more of the accounts assigned to an inventory item, asset, income, or expense account, they won't be given the option to update the item's linked accounts and historical transactions as well. Instead, QuickBooks Online will automatically update all transactions throughout history involving this item using the new mappings. It won't ask for permission to do so, and won't notify the user of the changes. The one exception is if the transactions being adjusted are in a closed period. If there is a closing date password, the user will be asked to enter it. If there is no closing date password, the user will view a warning and can then choose to proceed with the remapping. Pro Advisor Tip. If clients convert inventory from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, they can change the description field, but fields that affect the general ledger posting are locked down. If after the conversion they try and add a transaction dated before the FIFO start date, or they try to change the quantity or rate of an item, they will receive an error message. Importing inventory items from spreadsheets. Apart from adding inventory one by one, clients can also import inventory items from a spreadsheet. The best way to do this is to download a sample file and replace the fields with the company's actual data. We cover how to do that in the Importing Products and Services, Customers, and Vendors lesson. Note that imported items that are not set up in QuickBooks Online will be automatically added as new items, and items already set up will be updated. This is useful when changing prices for multiple items. Let's look at some more considerations. Select the drop-downs to find out more. Ensuring all products and services are imported with the correct status. When preparing to import, clients need to make sure that the Sell, Buy, and Track columns are marked correctly. Checking the box in the Track column tells QuickBooks Online that it's an inventory item. If the item should be a service or non-inventory type, clients need to uncheck the Track box and use the Type drop-down to specify which type it should be. For service or non-inventory items, clients should use the Sell and Buy columns to specify whether they want to use the item on a sales and/or purchase form. They need to check both boxes to use the item on both types of forms. This sets it up as a double-sided item. Then make sure to identify the correct income and expense accounts. Note that QuickBooks Online ignores any records without a checkmark in at least one of the Sell, Buy, and Track columns. Finally, clients need to make sure that the entry for the item type is correct, using the format that QuickBooks Online is expecting. Product categories and items should be separated by a colon, for example. Parent item. Note that, when importing inventory from a CSV file, QuickBooks Online doesn't create sub-items. The accounting application that created the CSV may have output the hierarchy as parent items and sub-items. In QuickBooks Online, these will import as product categories and items. Sub-items do not exist in QuickBooks Online. Dealing with account misalignment. If the designated account isn't already in QuickBooks Online, clients will see a red box around the field indicating that account in the income account, expense account, and/or inventory asset account column. Clients need to make sure that inventory items are mapped to accounts of the correct type and detail type. If they want to import the item in question, they need to choose an existing account from the chart of accounts. Clients may also see red boxes around fields in the quantity column, but that won't stop the item from importing. Dealing with existing product or services. If there is already a matching name in QuickBooks Online, clients can check the Overwrite All values for each product or service you import with the identical name box. Note that this can't be undone. If there is no matching name in the existing list, QuickBooks Online will add the new items. Dealing with inventory quantities in QuickBooks Online. In the same way as happens when clients add individual inventory items, if the quantity on hand field in the spreadsheet contains a non-zero value, then QuickBooks Online will multiply the quantity and the cost and post that amount as a debit to inventory asset and a credit to opening balance equity on the date specified by the client. Remember that only clients already in business but new to QuickBooks Online should enter a non-zero initial quantity on hand. In other instances, increases or decreases in inventory should derive from subsequent purchase and sales transactions for the item. Pro Advisor Tip: once the importing is done, clients should run an inventory valuation summary report in QuickBooks Online and check that the imported quantities on hand, etc. match the data on the original spreadsheet. Creating product categories. Product categories are a way to group similar products and services together. They are particularly useful if your client has similar product names that could get confused and mixed up on transactions. By assigning products and services to individual product categories, your client will be able to search for items by product category. Product categories also help your client select the correct items from their products and services list when they're creating invoices and making purchases. Let's see how your clients can create a new category and add items to them. There are two ways to create a product category. One way is to create just a category from the product categories list. Select the gear icon, then All Lists. Under the Products and Services section, select Product Categories. You can also access the Product Categories page by selecting Sales or Invoicing from the left-hand navigation, then selecting Products and Services and using the More drop-down to select Manage Categories. From here, select New Category. Clients can create a hierarchy by creating subcategories within categories.to. Make a category a subcategory. Check the As a Subcategory box, and select the parent category from the dropdown. Then select Save. Another way to add a new category is by creating it when adding a new product. Select the gear icon, then Products and Services. Select New from the Products and Services list. Enter the product information as needed. In the category box, select Add New. Assign a name to the category and select Save. Enter the rest of the product details. Finally, select Save and Close. We can see the new category and the new item within it in the Products and Services list. To assign existing products to a category, in the Product Item row, select Edit. Assign the desired category in the category box. That's it. Using product categories. Now let's look at how your client can use product categories to reduce errors. As you just saw, your client can create a new product category and assign a product/service to it, as shown here. The item will now be grouped under this category in the Products and Services list. When using the items grid on a transaction, your client can enter the product category name to get a list of all the products and services added to that category. Note that clients can't actually use a product category on a transaction. They're just to help your clients filter and sort their products and services. The product category is also included in the product/service dropdown when your client is purchasing items using checks, expenses, or bills, and when they're creating an invoice, as shown below. This helps them make sure they choose the correct item. How else can product categories help? When you or your client run sales, purchases, or inventory reports, the products and services are grouped by category. This gives you and your clients additional helpful insight into sales and asset value by product category. Summing up. Learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, we covered setting up new inventory products and categories. Knowledge recap. Setting up inventory products allows your clients to track product and stock levels easily, but they'll probably need your support at first to ensure they're doing things correctly and to prevent problems down the road. You can now support your clients to add or import inventory items, as well as manage their inventory lists. Next steps. In the next lesson, we'll look at buying, selling, and adjusting inventory.